how'd you make a name for yourself as a GA?
This has really been for me in every role that I've ever been. I try to be the absolute, one, it's a competition every day when I walked in the building, right? And it didn't matter what role I was in, I wanted to make sure that I was the best one in that role comparative to everybody else in that role. I think the other thing that I embraced really early is I'm going to do all the jobs that nobody wants to do. And what you find is everybody wants to game plan, everybody wants to watch film, but there's not that many guys that want to pour a cup of coffee. There's not that many guys that want to put together the scouting report. There's not that many guys that want to create, a great playbook. And so I started by saying, okay, what's the jobs that nobody wants to do, and I'm going to be the best at it. And I always felt like you wanted to put yourself in a position where if that guy leaves for another job, he has to take you because you're the guy that knows how to do it. You're the guy that knows how he likes his call sheet built. And that's kind of what I did. That's what I really focused on. And I didn't realize at that point how much ball I didn't know, right? I thought I knew football, but I didn't really know football at all. And I had a lot to learn. So I tried to shut up and listen whenever, guys with a lot more experience were talking in the room. And then I tried to work really hard. I mean, I spent a lot of nights up in the office. It was sleepless nights, but you have to separate yourself in some way.
And you made a reputation from what I've heard as a great recruiter, even when you were a GA. You were focused on recruiting. I think that's where a lot of GAs went wrong. I remember when I was at Arizona State and I was a GA, people talking about you and saying, when Dan Lanning was a GA, like he was a dynamic recruiter. That's what you have to be if you want to. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to recruit then. Yeah. What went into that? Because I feel like in college football, a lot of people don't realize how big of a part of the job that is. And as a GA, you can make an impact on it.
Huge impact. And for me, I think the thing I realized really quick is, all right, you work hard, you care about it, you're learnable and adaptable. All those things are great. But nobody's going to hire a young coach because of what he knows, right? They're going to hire a young coach because of the value he brings to the program. Well, the number one way to bring value in college football is player acquisition. So, I started early. What I kind of did when I got to Arizona State is I looked at the map and they give these maps of this coach has this area, this coach has this area. Well, I found the map and nobody had Kansas, right? So I was like, I'm going to be the best recruiter in Kansas JCs. And I'd work the phone every single night, and I never got to go on the road. As a GA, you don't get to go on the road. So I always had a great excuse of why, hey, I can't come see you, but I'm going to send, this coach to come see you. I'm going to get by there next time. But just selling yourself every day as a coach that can make an impact. And, I ended up signing a couple guys that started for us there at ASU. And I think down the road where that paid dividends is Mike Norvell gets his first head coaching job, and he says, okay, Dan was on the other side of the ball, but I know he's going to sign players. I know he's going to work hard. And, later on, Kirby Smart hiring you because he knows what you're going to do from that. But for me, that's always the number one way you can provide value in college football is bringing players on board. Yeah.
During that time where you were GA to ASU, from Pitt, you mentioned you have a family. I mean, you're hardly making any money. Like as a GA, you're making like $1,000 a month, maybe. Like at a good school.
Pay raise when I was a GA at Alabama, I was getting $1,200 a month.
Yeah, okay,
that was good. I had 3 kids.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean,
it didn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense at all. And I'm just grateful my wife never said no. We always. I always save for opportunities. So when I stopped teaching elementary PE, I pulled out my teaching retirement from Missouri. That was $18,000, right?
Wow.
So that kind of made ends meet for a while. And then I, went to Arizona State, and I was kind of still living off of I was piecing that together. And then when I went to Sam Houston State, I started making money. I was a DB coach, and it wasn't 6 figures, but I had enough to support my family. But even there, I was saving in case another opportunity came up again to where I wasn't going to make enough. Yeah. So it was never about how much you're making. It was always about where can I get the best opportunity? I always chased opportunities, not the dollars. So whenever I got a chance to be a GA at Alabama, I had a little nest egg to hey, I can make it 12 months on this. It might be ramen noodles, right? Yeah. We were on EBT. We didn't have insurance, right? Yeah. That's all true. But it was worth it for the opportunity to get around people that matter and good coaching programs.
And that means that your family and your wife had the belief that you would figure it out.
Yeah. I'm lucky she did. I'm lucky she did because, it was really 2011. My first full-time coaching job, in Division I football was 2016. Mm-hmm. So it was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 before I ever really was making any money that could take care of things.
Yeah. So how'd the process then from GA at Alabama to the full-time job at Georgia. What was that process like? Because I heard a story today, talked to your defensive coordinator, who said that they were trying to keep you at Alabama, and you went with Coach Smart.
Yeah, so there's actually a stop in between there. So I was with Coach Smart, Coach LaPoyle. That staff was an amazing staff. We had a bunch of tons of head coaches that were sitting around that table with Nick every day. And Kirby left to go take the job at Georgia. And this is the same time Mike Norvell got the job at Memphis. So I went with Mike to Memphis.
That's right.
And I was the inside linebackers coach there for a couple years. And then there was some movement on Kirby's staff. And we talked, and obviously we're familiar with each other. And I got hired as the outside linebackers coach there at Georgia. Well, at the same time, there was potential opening there at Alabama. But at this point, I'd already committed. My chips were already on the table, and I was all in with Coach Smart and Georgia. So I've got to be around really, really good people, but it's crazy the connections you'll make that lead to opportunities later on.